What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Movement Mindset powered by Station Athletics. I'm Chris Hardenberg here with one of my good friends, Natty Bandasak.
Hello.
So Natty, guys, owns Myokinetics. It's Myokinetics.
Physical therapy, performance, and acupuncture.
There you go.
We just keep adding stuff.
Yeah. He owns Myokinetics up the road in East Hanover. It's funny. I was just getting treatment at the clinic, and I was talking to the guy there, and he's like, "How long have you known Natty?" And I was like, probably 7 or 8 years at this point. And so I wanted to have him on the podcast. Super knowledgeable physical therapist, runs a great business model, has an amazing team up the road. So Natty, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. And obviously, I used to be here.
Yes.
And this is where I get started. That's how I met Chris, right? How about this? I'll introduce our relationship. You want me to hard launch our relationship?
Yeah. Let's do that.
How official we are. So let's see. I graduated PT school 2016. Prior to that, I was a CrossFit Level 1 coach since 2012 and always been in the CrossFit world. My buddy Manny put me on the CrossFit in 2012 when I was getting my undergrad at University of Maryland. And back then I was just, we're all just doing like bodybuilding stuff, and then you kind of get bored. And then when you start doing CrossFit, you kind of get hooked. You're like, man, this is really cool. So I got on board immediately. Fast forward, I got into PT school and started coaching CrossFit throughout the whole time, started diverging from CrossFit into weightlifting. Fast forward, after a year and a half of working in a big corporate setting, PT, if you guys got hurt, you kind of know what that setting is like. You walk in, there's 4 other patients with you, you're seeing your therapist for 10 minutes, and then they kind of pawn you off to some high school kids that doesn't really know much. And you're just doing band exercise for like 6 months, whatever. So that was not what I wanted to do. So I got burned out very quickly. And through the moment of desperation, I say to myself, and with the encouragement of my wife, was, why don't you go back to what you used to, which is you used to do personal training, but now you have a doctorate. You can probably do one-on-one treatment and also some sort of personal training style in conjunction with PT. Like, why don't we do that? I say, okay, that's not bad, because the worst thing that happened is that I go back and work corporate job and I just let my soul die.
Slowly
die. And I say, okay, I really have nothing to lose. So I actually signed a lease down the road on Eisenhower, where the old Station Athletics used to be. On Dorsa.
Yes. Okay.
On Dorsa. So I someone connected me with the owner of the gym in Dorsa.
Okay.
And I went there for my first day. I treated 2 patients. I said, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah.
I like this. It's a good space. And then I happened to drive past the Dunkin' Donuts here, and I saw CrossFit Roseland. Obviously, you can't miss a sign.
Right.
So I said, let me go get some coffee, and then I'm going to go inside, introduce myself, so that way people know I exist and that I'm down the road. Mm-hmm. So I grabbed my coffee. I walked in. During that time, I saw Quan, some of the coaches that used to be here working out. And they're like, okay, these guys are definitely legit, because like in the world of CrossFit, you can kind of tell if someone's good or not. And then Joe happened to be here in the front. Mm-hmm. So I was introducing myself to Joe. I was like, hey man, I'm Natty. I opened a clinic down the road. He was like, where are you exactly? I was like, yeah, I'm on like Dorset Avenue. He's like, oh, we used to be over there. And I was like, oh, okay, how was it? Why do you move? Do you need a bigger space? He's like, yeah, we need a bigger space. But also there's a giant garbage dumpster over there. So
like a water treatment.
Yeah, he's like, in the summer it's gonna smell like garbage. And I said, man, don't tell me that. I was like, I just started. It's my first day. I'm like really juiced up. Like I'm like, great. And then we were just talking. And then turned out he knew some of the people that I know that competed with. I told him my background, my treatment philosophy, and he kind of like took interest. And then he just happened to like, hey, we have this random room, which where we're sitting here now. It's funny, right?
Literally half of this room.
So this exact room that we sit in, there was speakers everywhere over there.
Yeah.
Nick Serby used to drop his stuff here.
Yeah.
So he's like, I have this random room that I don't use. I was like, if that doesn't work out over there, if you want to come over here, let me know.
Yeah.
So immediately I said, okay, can I get your number? Let me talk this over. Let me kind of work some stuff out. Luckily, I made the decision to call him later that week to say, hey man, I'm really interested because this is going to be a better fit for me. And based on the level of high athletes you have here, it'll be more fulfilling for me to be here.
Right.
Because during that time, I was still working 12 to 8 every day down in Cedar Knolls. So I say, if I have to start building my business, my clinic, it would have to be early in the morning.
Right.
So I would have to come here at 7, grind it out, and then go to work full day until I can sustain a good amount of, patient caseloads that I can quit my job. So, and I said, this is the kind of environment that I like, because I like being in the gym. I like being able to train whenever I can. So that's how we ended up here. And we were here from 2018 all the way to 2021.
Yeah.
So
we've been, it's funny because I tell people all the time, it's like Natty had, like, I don't even know the size of the room, but legit, like where those things are, if you cut the room in half, that was this, where we're sitting was the size of the room. So it was like a table, a little circle desk that you would like charge payments on your computer and then be like, all right, have a good day. And so then they would leave. And then we went from that, we expanded this office, we added the other side, you went into the glass office, and and we always had a good relationship, but I think what kind of brought us even closer together was COVID. Because it was like, I had nowhere else to go. I like came to the gym to like try to figure out how to keep the lights on and like my bills paid. And you were in the same boat, like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna make this work? And then it was this cool little atmosphere where it was like me, you, Matt at the time, and then like the couple, couple of like high school and college kids that were coming in because you were a medical provider, you were allowed to stay open. And so that was kind of like a very interesting time. And now it's kind of blown up to the point where you're up the road, you have a huge facility, you train professional athletes, college athletes, all the way to like moms and dads. And so it's been a pretty cool journey, but I want to kind of go back even a little bit further because I do think you have a really cool origin story. So you just went over how we got connected, but let's back up even further and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go way back, I guess I'll start when I first moved here. So we moved here in 2001 from Thailand. My parents, myself, my sister, grew up in like a restaurant business. So what's great about that is I just kind of know in restaurant business, the only way you can make it work is through customer service. Yeah. Right. So from there, it's always good to just learn how to take care of people. Always been to retail. And again, from the first day, I knew that to make things work, especially as an immigrant in this country, you kind of have to just do the work yourself. Yeah. Right? I mean, and then the more you work, the more momentum you have, the more luck you would have. And I've been very lucky and fortunate because of the people I connected with, like you, Joe, and I say that every single day because things just happen to align and worked out for me to be sitting where I'm at right now. And another things too is that things that happened to me that's considered misfortune during that time, like for example, the pivoting point of me going to PT school was me doing CrossFit. It was a front squat workout and a running workout. And that's when like I really like blew my back out. Yeah. Right. And I herniated like 3 discs, couldn't walk for 2 weeks. And that's really got me into like diving into like, okay, what do I do? How do I get back under the bar? How do I get back to working out? Not being able to walk for 2 weeks, like, climbing up and down the stair on your hands and knees is not good. And then during that time, Kelly Starrett was just like blowing up. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So again, right time, right place, right? So following Kelly Starrett, doing CrossFit, start rehabbing myself, going like introducing a little movement, taking what I learned from PTs, from like Kelly Starrett, actually doing a PT, going to see a PT, getting some hands-on stuff. That really pivoted me to just like, I probably should just go into PT school because if I can do what Kelly Starrett was doing, which is getting patient and clients better through the skill set of physical therapy and also in conjunction of like strength conditioning, training, personal training, fitness, I'm like, that's my world. Like I can do that all day. So I'd say, but it's all coming back to delivering a great experience for people, right? It's again, you don't go into a restaurant hoping just to have good food. You want the food and the environment and the vibe and the whole atmosphere to kind of marinate together. And I think, again, when I used to coach a class, right? You and I talk about this, where when you're coaching a class, you have an audience of 15. Your job is to make sure you put on a great show where those 15 people forget what's going on in their lives at that moment for an hour, and they can just focus on the workout of the day. And then you also tell them and empower them in some way, not like Peloton empowerment. I'm not repeating my daily affirmation to my client because that's pointless. Like, you empower them through movement. You empower them through like, okay, hey, you can do this. You empower them through like, hey, let's push for that PR today because you earned it.
Yeah.
And to me, when I'm able to coach 5 classes, I'm empty the tank for 5 classes for 5 hours. It's extremely exhausted because if you do it right, you left everything out within that class. But then at the end of the day, you're tired, but you're fulfilled. And I always take that to heart every single day, even though when we're treating patient now, like we're treating one-on-one, it's still a show, it's still an experience, and it's still empowerment. So I think all the experience I went through, the ups and downs, the challenges, all of that kind of put everything together to what we do today at Myokinetics. And, I've learned a lot by just being here. Right. Watching you coach, Quan, Drew, Brian, like all those guys back in the day, is the environment is unmatched. And what I love about being here too in the past was to be able to help them problem solve immediately. Right. Someone have shoulder pain, I say, okay, let me test it out. Let's see what's going on. Okay, do this instead of that. Right. So that would, to me, I learned from you guys way more than I did by just practicing on my own patient, right? Because you have way more people coming in and me talking to people. We used to do workshop all the time, right?
All the time, yeah.
So like all of that stuff, I don't know if that answered the origin story.
No, I thought that was pretty good. I mean, and it's funny from like a business standpoint. I feel like, Dave and I talked about this on one of the other podcasts. It's like there's certain things that's like a prerequisite. So what I mean by that is like you look at the restaurant industry, your food has to be good. If your food stinks, the rest of it doesn't matter. Yeah. That's like a prerequisite, right? For us, the in-class experience and the coaching has to be good. If that stinks, then it's like people are going to be walking out the back door. For you, it's like you have to have good clinicians that can actually treat the problem. But once you meet that base level, it's all the additional client service stuff that gets people to stick with you. And so that kind of segues really well because we've talked about this a bunch, but I do want to get it out there is like, I mean, let's face it, Myokinetics is a physical therapy place, right? You could throw a stone and find a physical therapy place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I have you treat me. I've referred people to you all the time. I know Joe has referred people to you. So it's like, what makes Myokinetics different for us to refer people to you?
I think it has to do with transparency and communication. Okay. Right? So what I mean by transparency is that you don't get this kind of treatment anymore in the medical field where you go in and people it's going to talk to you, hear you out, and listen to your whole story. What they want to do is they want to go put you on a table and they're going to do a quick special test on you and they say, this is what you have. This is your diagnosis. And then, okay, now you're going to go and do PT and then that, right? So what we do is it's the opposite, where we'll come in, we'll hear your story, we'll say, hey, tell me more. What happened? What stopped? What is it stopping you from doing? When the pain started? What makes it better? What makes it worse? All of that stuff. And then we'll say, I believe this happens because of X, Y, and Z. And we don't rarely give out diagnoses because people tend to let those diagnoses be their identity.
Yeah, it defines them.
Exactly. They'll be like, hey, I can't do it because I have this and that, right? How about we go like, hey, you cannot do that yet because we need to work on this X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Right? So, and then having transparency when it comes to pricing, commitment, and time invested, right? Yeah. So we're like, hey, if you want to work with us, here's our cost, right? We're out network. We spend a lot of time with people. And if you are valuing getting back to your sport, to your activity, to CrossFit sooner, and you think your time is the most precious resources, and you're okay investing financial resources to save on time resources, then we're on the same page, right? And then from there, the second thing is communication. Because as soon as you send someone to us, which you often do, I say, Chris, I just saw so-and-so, here's what I found, and here's what worked, and here's the exercise I give this person. On the next program, can you please add this in, or can you send me the program that you just programmed for this person, and can I take a look, maybe hold off on this for a little bit? Like last year, we shared the same clients, and I say, hey, how about we do box box squat.
Yeah.
Instead of depth squat.
Yep.
Right. Let's do tempo. Let's do isometric. All of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's what separates us the most, right? Because I want to assume that most PTs, people in my field, are incompetent and caring. Are competent and caring. So that way you're gonna get good standard. But I think what separates us is the little details of like, okay, the communication, the transparency, and the game plan that we create with the people in that person orbit to get them back to their baseline and even better.
Yeah, and that's the big thing we talked about when you started Myokinetics was, and I might be a little off on this, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember you saying like the tough part with, what you refer to as corporate physical therapy is they're going to treat you up until the point that insurance stops paying. Mm-hmm. And insurance stops paying, let's say I'm a basketball player and I got a broken ankle or sprained ankle. They'll let you treat them until they can walk or go up and down stairs without pain, right? Mm-hmm. The problem is I'm not trying to just walk and go up and down stairs without pain. I'm trying to play basketball. Mm-hmm. And that's why you see a lot of these people where, physical therapy is an interesting profession because it's like, I want to do my job so well that I never see you again, mm-hmm. But it's, at the same time, it's like, I remember you saying there's this gap right now between care and performance that people get lost and they end up having to come back because they don't know how to bridge the gap to performance. And you guys do that really, really well. I mean, I remember when I was actively competing and getting treatment from you guys, it was like, great, you're going to do this, throwing these movements into your warm up. This is what's going on with you. It was a very, like you said, very straightforward, honest conversation. And then it was, for the athletes in your facility now, it's like, I'm going to treat you and work with you because you're committed, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're getting the right clientele in. You're committed to get back to playing basketball or football or running with your kids. So I'm going to treat you until that goal as opposed to, hey, you can walk without pain and the heck with the rest of it. Good luck with that.
Yeah, it's a mess up system because us as provider, physical therapists, even like surgeon or even medical doctor, we don't have a say in the medical field.
Right.
It's really dictated by insurance, right? So at the end of the day, if the insurance say we're not going to pay you because this person can walk now and they can go up 2 flights of stairs, whatever extra treatment you do, we're not going to pay you. So you have to eat up the cost, or you go and dispute that with your patient.
Right.
And even though from the patient perspective, they would say, why am I paying my premium monthly and I can't use my benefits?
Right.
Right. So I see both sides. That's why we're out network. We never have insurance dictate on how we can care for our patient. And I also don't want the patient to come in. If I ask you, Chris, what's your goal? You'd be like, man, if I can walk up and down stairs for 2 flights and not, like, I don't even care about playing with my kids. No one's going to say that. Right. But if I say, Chris, I can get you better to the point where you can walk up and down stairs for 2 flights. How does that sound? Yeah, right?
Not great. I have a
but
lot
that's
I wanna
exactly
do.
what insurance is doing.
Right.
So if I were to work for an insurance company and if I want to be honest and transparent, that's what I would say to you.
Right, exactly.
Right? And then you're going to be like, no.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk out of here.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that's what we fight for our patient every single day. We always tell them up front what's going to happen, what kind of issue we're going to be dealing with, and we work with them. And to the point now, my job is to get people better, like you say, so they don't have to come back. Perfect example. Julie, one of your, clients.
Carmody?
Yes.
Yes.
So she competed in weightlifting, right? She did great. She doesn't have to come back. She's competing at a high level.
Right.
I remember when I was like working with Julie from way back, I was like, Julie, you should do weightlifting. She was like, I don't know. And then fast forward like a couple years later, she competed. She's now like competing like with the American Open or national recently.
Like that, yeah.
For for her age group, she crushed it. Like stuff like that. Like that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
And our business runs on referral of people who trust us that we know that we do good work, and we want to be a generational business. And what I mean by that is I want to treat the athlete, then I want to treat the parents of the athletes. I want to treat the grandparents of the athlete, right? Because that's how we know we're doing a good job. There's no better compliment to me at this moment as a new dad than someone say, please take care of my child.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's something, because you get it now being a dad. It's like, I'm entrusting a lot to you to figure this out. And as they get older, like, I remember, and I'm sure you remember, being really serious in sports. Like when you're like a high school kid, like that's everything to you, especially if you're really committed. And so to trust someone to be like, hey, my kid wants so badly to go to state, so to get a scholarship. And it's like, that's the most important thing to him. And I'm entrusting you with that. That's a lot of trust. And speaking of trust, one of the other things is like, you've trusted us enough to refer back. And I've always found with physical therapy, that's like a very important thing, is like, we have to trust the therapist, because, and we'll get into this in a second, is like, you do have people out there who's like, oh, don't move, don't go to the gym. And it's like, you have to be very careful, because as a fitness guy, it's like, I don't want to send someone to a physical therapist who's going to tell them to stop going into the gym, when I truly believe that you should keep coming and we'll just work around what you got going on. And so, and then vice versa, if you're a clinician, it's like, I don't want to send you to a gym that you get hurt because I did nothing wrong, but that looks bad on me. And so I guess the next thing is like, okay, well, what makes you feel comfortable referring to us?
Well, it's the same thing. It's that communication, right? And communication, and I would say the openness to learn from each other.
Yeah.
You don't get that from I mean, there are some coaches out there, and I've been a coach before.
Sure.
So I know what that's like. So I can kind of recognize when the coach is going to put the ego in front of the patient, rather than be receptive and create like a really good ecosystem where we can kind of work together, right? And again, you mentioned I work with a professional athlete. If I work with a professional athlete who like first rounders signing like millions of dollars in contract, I know that I need to talk to everyone on his team.
Yeah.
And I know that everyone needs to have their role and their place, and we all kind of come in together, because the main focus is the person in the middle, which is the patient and the clients, right? So I know that when I send someone to you, I know that I can trust you guys. Like, they're going to get on board correctly. They're going to get scale appropriately with progression or regression. I think that's another thing too. People do a really good job progressing people, but they do a pretty, I wouldn't say bad job, not as well with regression.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you can't do that movement. Can we scale that back?
Right.
Right. And here's the hard part, because I was a coach before. If people are paying membership and they are fighting you to say, I want to do this, not as a scale movement, you are more inclined to tell them like, fine, you can do it because you pay.
Yes.
But it takes someone with integrity and good communication skills to say, hey, I know you want to do this, but I respectfully say you're not ready for this. And here's why we need to work. You need to do ring rows instead of doing, kipping pull-ups. You need to do strict banded pull-ups before you can do kipping chest to bar, right? Those are conversations that's honestly your client's going to thank you for, because you just saved their shoulder.
Yeah.
And if the goal is to be as fit as possible for the long period of time, then that's what they need.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, because literally, so Dave Witson, Nast Whitson, husband and wife, they're running this location right now, and they literally just had that conversation with someone who came in, former member, wants to come back, and he had some injury issues. I want to say maybe shoulder or something like that, and it was to the point in the sales consultation, the guy was like, had his wallet out, like, please sign me up, like, here's my money, and they were like, well, let's talk about this a little bit more, right? What is your plan when you come in? What are you going to do? Like, you can take the program. They're like, I'm not stopping you, but we're going to have to scale some things. Are you going to be okay with that? Or are you going to look around and be like, man, this is annoying, and then end up doing it what you shouldn't anyways, and then be back to where you were? And he was honest with them. He was like, I would probably end up doing that. And so they're like, all right, let's do this. And they had a full conversation with them. And now the guy's going to be coming in, I want to say in the next week or two, he's going to sign up. But like you said, it takes someone with integrity to be like, we're here to help you, but we're here to help you get to what you said your goals are, and jamming this thing that shouldn't be doing what you're doing. And we know it, and we're going to coach you through it. Like, if you're going to stray from that, you're going to be right back to where you were.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you're right. It's like, it does take a level of professionalism and care for the member or the patient to be like, no, I know you don't like this, but it's in your best interest, because I can see this in your future if you don't change something.
Yeah, I can honestly say this. If you want to make money, you don't get into fitness or healthcare.
Right. Yeah.
Because you are literally not making money.
Right.
Like, I mean, like honestly.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to make money, yeah, you go into finance.
Right.
Because you're a caring professional, and like if you're here and you're serving money because someone pay you and you're gonna let them do whatever it is, it's never gonna sit well with someone with high integrity.
Right.
Right. Because you know you didn't do the right thing.
Yep.
So I've been fortunate enough where the people in my circle, when I was even learning with CrossFit and everything, I've only been around good coaches. There was one time where I experienced bad coaching. I didn't know it exists.
You're like, what is this?
So I dropped in at a CrossFit gym that was like kind of well known somewhere in Jersey. And I'm like, all right, let me just drop in. Like, it looks pretty good. And I say, okay, let's look at the program. And then their program, they used to follow, do you remember the outlaw ways?
Oh, yeah.
To the T. They would just copy whatever they were doing, but they were running it a week behind.
Oof. For those of you that don't know, it was like a
very
really
competitive-
intense, competitive, like weightlifting program for CrossFit.
Which I love because
Well,
I was
yeah, of
following
course.
Outlaw before. So when I went in to drop in, I'm like, wait, this is what I did last week.
Right.
And then the guy was like, yeah, that's how we program. I was like, you didn't program. You copy and paste this whole thing. And then I'm in class. I'm like, fine, I'll do this again. And during that time, I was already competing weightlifting. So I'm like pretty proficient with all the complex movement. And the people around me in that class were not as proficient. And the guy was sitting behind his desk on top of a jerk box with a cup of coffee and a MacBook. And he's like, all right, here's a warm up. All right, here's a string part. Here's a condition. Yeah, if you guys need anything, just let me know. I'm right here.
What?
Yeah, dude, yeah. It was like $40 to drop in. I'm like, what? This is not even, I know, right?
That's crazy.
So that was my first experience of bad coaching. And because CrossFit is an affiliate model, you can get some of those things. And then because you get those things, you then associate, CrossFit to bad coaching and all of that stuff. But that's why if you have low integrity and you let people do whatever they want, that person that pay you will come in, get hurt, and then will just complain about why they're hurt. And they're going to say it's because of the program. It's never their fault.
Right.
And then they're going to tell the people in their 7 a.m. class of why the program sucks and why their shoulders hurting or their knees hurting. But then when you ask them, like, okay, are you willing to scale back? They're like, no.
Yeah.
So like it's a mood point.
Right. Right. So, one of the other things I wanted to touch on before we had to hop off is there's a lot of, in my opinion, misconceptions around fitness and injury or injury prevention. What is something that if I was to say, what is one misconception out there that you are trying to fight against when it comes to injury and fitness? What would you say that is?
I think the number one thing is you don't have to go all out. The way I work out now, again, remember, I did CrossFit, I did competitive weightlifting. There's a two different thing between working out and training.
Yeah.
Right? So when you and I were very competitive, we were training.
Yes.
Those were 3 hours workout. We feel like garbage afterwards.
Right.
Right? You're like, oh, I'm just praying I can just get through my back. It's destroy this and that, right? Most people, they don't need training, they need workout.
Yeah.
And I think what they need to do is define what's the outcome that's going to be. How do they want to feel during and after? So the biggest one is you need to feel good during and after, right? During, you should feel good. After, you should feel great.
Sure.
If everything went according to plan, you should say, I feel great. I tackled the workout. The day is ceased. I'm ready to take on all the other things, right? So that's the number one thing. Is like it's not all or nothing.
Yeah.
Right. There's something. It should be a gradient scale, rather than just an on and off switch.
Yeah.
So that's the number one thing when I see people who get hurt the most.
Yeah.
Second thing is when they start hopping from one place to the other because they don't have consistency, and they don't have consistency is because they get bored easily, and they get bored easily because they don't want to do the boring work which they need to do. And when you go to PT, guess what? You're going to come in and do the boring work with me. So you can't hide from it, right? It's like taking out the garbage at home. It's boring. Your wife going to ask you to do it. You either get ahead of it or you do it when she's mad.
Right.
Right? So we have to do boring stuff. So that's number two. Number three is kind of tied with number two is kind of going through like what's hot right now.
Yeah.
Right? And what's hot right now is high rocks kind of style workout, which again, it's Orange Theory, chasing the zone 3 where you sweat a lot, but you're not really getting benefits of zone 2 or zone 4. You're not really getting good benefits of like resistant training because the weight is never heavy enough.
Yep.
So you're kind of in like you're wasting your time. Like, just respectfully speaking, you're wasting your time. And then you get into that environment, and then you have an affirmation type coach where they have the headphones on, the strobe lights coming on, and like this person is just like clapping in your face to get you to do more, but really not coaching your movement. So these are like entry level life coaches rather than fitness coaches.
Yeah.
And then, they might just rip a video of like Tony Robbins real quick before the class, and then like empowering you. And then at the end of the day, you're like, okay, I'm going to say this because my best friend's going through this, right? He lived in Arizona. I went out to see him last year. He's like, yeah, man, I've been going to the gym 4 days a week. I'm like, dude, I love you. Doesn't look like it. I was like, doesn't look like it.
Right.
And I say, let me go to the gym with you. He's like, okay, let's go. So he went. He took me to his class. It's a group fitness class.
Okay.
Station based.
Yep.
Right. And it's all very good looking girls. He's single.
Sure.
And I said, this is why you're coming here. You're not here to work out. And it's all like high reps, high volume, all station. And the coach is walking around like clapping in your face,
yep,
saying you're doing great, no queuing, nothing at all. And then at the end, my buddy say, hey, there's a pool party this weekend. Are you going to be there? This and that. I was like, dude, you're here to meet girls. I was like, all right, sign up for the pool party, but then go join a real gym and then do something else. Like, because it's nonsense. And
right.
I think that's what it is. It's an influencer type of culture, which started like in like probably the early 2010, and then because people just doing ridiculous stuff. And that's not how you get fit. That's how you get hurt. And that's how you ended up seeking out some help from someone like me. And then I'm going to tell you what I'm telling you now. So if you want to save money and time, just do what I'm saying and then just listen to a good coach.
Yeah. And it's funny you should say that. The number of podcasts JJ will tell you that we film that it's like, this is why we undulate intensities. This is why we do different movement patterns. This is why we do strength training. So you can burn calories at rest. You can have strong muscles around your joints. It's like, that's why we do the programming that we do. And we battle so hard against, frankly, fitness brands and chains that are just marketing machines. And it's like, we lose 10% out the back door, but it's fine because we'll spend all these marketing dollars. We'll bring people in and there's a low barrier of entry to throw someone on a bike, put a heart rate monitor and say, look, you're doing great. Just keep doing what you're doing. But you're right. What ends up happening is you're doing the same thing every day where your results plateau or you get maybe an overuse injury because there's differing movement patterns or differing intensities. And so it's not that I needed you to say that, but it's encouraging to.
Oh, dude, I've been dying.
Before we hop off, because I know you got to go, if you could give one piece of advice to someone who wants a young Natty Bandasak who wants to be the current Natty Bandasak, what piece of advice would you give him?
I think the biggest one that really changed my whole perspective of staying healthy the whole time is look at fitness and workout as something you get to do and something you get to do for a long period of time and something you get to do that make you feel better, right? Don't chase pain. It's okay to dial it back on a day you don't feel like it. Like this day where I'm like, I'm just gonna go for a walk.
Right.
That's way better. My job is always moving over everything, and the degree of movement is dependent on how I feel that day. My daughter's teething, like she's like giving me like 2 hours of sleep. Like today might be like an easier day. It could be a zone 2 day, or I can just go like on the assault bikes like Tabata, and that's still a good workout, right? That's the biggest thing is that. Look at it as something that you get to do, something that is part of who you are and as part of your identity. Don't look at it as a phase. I think that's one thing. You're not running Cycle, Ozempic, or GLP. This is what you get to do. This is your lifestyle, and that's what you should embrace.
Cool. On the socials, Myokinetics.
Yeah, Myokinetics on Instagram. You can find me, Dr. Natty, DOCTOR.NATTY. Always, willing to chat back and forth, answer any question. And then, obviously, if you guys need anything, I'm down the road, a minute away, a mile too.
Yeah.
So Any question, let me know. Again, the Station Athletic, the Roseland community has been my first home, always will be, and I have a special place in my heart for you guys.
For sure, man. So thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. As always, like and subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram. Give us a 5-star rating on the podcast platform you listen on. We'll see you at the gym.